You are now listening to Generation Rising.
Crises there will continue to be. In meeting them, whether foreign or domestic, great or small, there is a recurring temptation to feel that some spectacular and costly action could become the miraculous solution to all current difficulties.
You've made the worst concession already. You've already said you're a slave. So,
well, absolutely.
After that, mere obedience to orders is a small affair.
I readily admit that I'm a slave. I'm a slave of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Get out of your chains.
Yeah. Well,
it's absolutely fine for you, but you must leave me out of it. I don't want to be told that I have to obey these laws too, or that my children have to be taught this in school, or that laws have to be written to gratify the bizarre beliefs of a cult like yours.
Well, but
that's the thing I would need you to understand. You're quite happy to believe this. Why can't you keep it to yourself?
Why can't you keep your atheism to yourself?
Because the religious won't allow me to. Because every time I open the paper, there's another instance of theocratic encroachment on free society, which I won't put up with which I will not put.
Well,
that's clear.
At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong. And I learned how to get along. And so you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed those stupid lock. I should have made you leave your key. If I'd known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me. Go on now, walk out that door. Just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? Do you think I crumble? Do you think I lay down and die? Oh no, not I. I will survive.
Today's January 16th. First Generation Rising episode of the brand new year. I apologize, people. I took a little hiatus from you. I miss you. This episode is just going to be me and you from here on out. I know I've had guests on for quite a few, maybe like 2 or 3 past episodes, and that was great. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I know I did. Learned a lot of new things. For the past couple weeks, I've been kind of making life changes, you know? New years, new changes. The new year, new me. New year, new bro. Yeah, new year, new bro. That's a hoot. But I'm coming from you right now, live from Indiana. And it is gloomy as fuck. It is rainy as fuck. And it's cold as hell. How the hell are you guys doing? It is Martin Luther King Day. Now this episode is going to be a short one. Hope you like the intro. It was absolutely wonderful a cappella. And, yeah. So, I'm going to cover a couple quotes by Martin Luther King. I'm going to talk about NATO in this episode. And going to try to fact check President-elect Trump. Because in 4 days from now, the tables are going to turn. And we are going to find ourselves in a weird, peculiar position. We're going to literally have an asshole speaking on behalf of all of us. Some of us wanted it. Some of us didn't. This is the reality. I'm over it. Whatever, he's the president. So now the battle and the fight truly begins. So each of you and each of everybody has to question and ask themselves, what can they do? What will you do? There's something that can be done, no matter what it is. No matter if it's doing a stupid podcast like this, even though it's not stupid, I'm just kidding. Or it's drawing your art, or if it's working hard and trying to unionize your job, or if it's trying to push pro-women's rights posters for people, whatever you can do. I'd appreciate the help. I would definitely appreciate the help. The goal is to always bring constructive and congenial conversation between one another. And not necessarily debate, but open discourse and getting things done. So that's the most important part. Okay, so without that, I bid you adieu. This is an MLK quote. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. I think that kind of touches on a little bit what I was talking about right now. What will you do? It's very easy to live life when it's full of peace and prosperity. It's very easy to not do anything if you're comfortable, if you're making a good amount of money, and if you don't have any worries, as they say these days. It's very easy to just let life be, man. Let it be. That's fine, I suppose. But it's what a man does in times of his challenge and controversy that we judge him by. What did he do in the most crucial moments? What did he do when he was up in the fight? Did he get knocked out really quick? Did he fight his heart out? You know, you can tell. You can always tell what a man really truly does. Did he try? I think that's the biggest one for a lot of us is, have you tried? Right? I mean, it's really easy to just not even try. You know, so you give a little bit of credibility and credence to a man or a woman who tries at least to do something, whatever it is, as little as it is. I mean, something's better than nothing. But the one thing that we must always make sure that we do never resort to for the next 4 to 8 years of at least 2 of these years will be a supermajority, unfortunately. So one thing that we must never do is give over the realms of our working hands to faith. Because Sam Harris, he put it best. Faith, if it is ever right about anything, is right by accident. Faith is not a virtue. It's not something to tout as a good thing, as a great thing, as a thing to help one over people, is just having faith in the system, or just having faith in your life, or just having faith for whatever reasons. How did the child get cured? By doctors who worked really hard in medical school and was able to put it in proper practice when it came down to the nitty-gritty to save the child from the disease, or the medicine that was created in a science laboratory of the hours and hours after a man sat over it and tried to come up with the best solutions and the chemistry and all this yada yada yada. Faith, in essence, I don't think has ever done anything. What do you win by accomplishing by saying things are out of your control and just let it be? Oh no, of course, I'm not saying that I can turn global warming and climate change around just by myself. I mean, I just have to hope I can draw a few more years from this climate catastrophe. But small things that I can do in my life, recycling, going green, going energy efficient in certain cases, are things that, can vastly affect your neighbor. It can show him that, oh man, look at, he lives like this, I can live like this too. It's putting things in a proper context for people that truly make them change. Like me in my life, I'll tell you what I've been trying to do. I am appalled at the lack of ethical and moral leadership in this country. Even though we claim ourselves to be a Judeo-Christian nation, which is absolutely horseshit, as you heard me say many times before, I am sitting around and always consistently looking for community leaders who lead by example and who lead with heart and who lead with reverence to the benefit and the purpose of all people. Not just your little sect, not just your little group, not just your little gang, but for everybody. And I am astounded at this notion that I can't do. Very rarely, they're rare. They're rare as hell. So in my life, I will try to be that leader. I will try to lead by example so other people can see and try to realize that, this is not just some fairy tale. A good moral leader is not just something that's not there. It's not a made up, it's not, as real as Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy. It's actually real. And, maybe I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. I have wonderful people, community leaders on the show, talk, and I've had wonderful artists talk, and they're all going to do great things in this world. I wish I could see more of them, but maybe we will. Like for example, I know for damn sure, the punk scene is going to thrive off the Donald Trump presidency. That's the one and only good thing that I can look forward to, is knowing that the fact of the matter is, artists will get really real, because artists best work comes out in controversy. The best work of art and music comes out when it's sad and depressed and the world's beating down at your back, and that's when the hard stuff comes out. That's when the good stuff that can pierce veils and knock down walls can come out in these moments, in these times. So that's something that I definitely look forward to. Okay, let's go over into NATO. If anybody would like to delve in deep, they can visit NATO on their website at nato.int, and you can find a lot of information, all the countries, the budget, their goals, what they're up to now, the leaders of all countries, and so on and so forth. So this is just a brief overview, and it didn't take me long. Like, I haven't done really heavy research on this, but I just wanted to just bring this out to show how easy it was for me to come up with my conclusion, and how misled some of the things that Donald Trump says, and he's going to be the president of this country, of this great country. So he's been touting this whole notion during the whole campaign, and now he's in the news recently, calling NATO obsolete and saying that, you know, America's a drain on the taxpayers, and how, you know, we flip the bill and we do the quote-unquote lion's share of the bill. Let's give you a little brief overview. The NATO is based on the North Atlantic Treaty, which was established on April 4th, 1949. Its headquarters are located here in Brussels, Belgium. There's 28 member states across North America and Europe, with the recent additions being Bosnia and somebody else in 2009, Albania, I want to say. There was a lot of criticism and critiques being made before its first military interventions in Bosnia from 1992 to 1995. People, they didn't know if it was really going to work out. I mean, this whole NATO thing is based off the Warsaw Pact, which, you know, was kind of in between the end of World War II and the Korean War faced by America. And one of the biggest adversities that NATO faced was when France withdrew its support. France withdrew its support in 1966. Okay. And one of the main reasons was it looked at the UK and the United States relationship in the NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization Pact, as being unfair. It looked like, you know, they were just looking out for their own. And so France withdrew its full support in 1966. Now it repledged their support in 100% effort back in 2009. Okay, so let's talk about just a little bit, brief overview, because I'm not a specialist on this, and I don't really know that too much about this just from what I've looked up, but how is NATO funded, right? I mean, this is the whole conversation, right? You know, America is getting screwed over in this deal somehow, so let's give it credence and let's try to figure it out. So the share of each country is calculated on the basis of its gross national income. So the top percentage-wise is the United States. They play 22% of the NATO budget. The next would be Germany at 15%. Next would be 11% for France, 10% for the United Kingdom, 8% for Italy, 7% for Canada, so on and so forth. These are the biggest people that, you know, carry NATO and make the budget. Now, this is calculated really reasonably. Like I said, it's calculated directly off the gross national income. So the problem wouldn't really arise from there, I would think. Now, all this data is taken from a Washington Post fact check on Donald Trump. I believe it was in March. Now, I know Glenn Kessler was the author of this article. And they go in to say how they really come up with it. And one of the biggest things that you could talk about, I guess, is the U.S. officials have long complained that other NATO members are not pulling their weight in the alliance. President Obama recently asserted to Atlantic Monthly's Jeffrey Goldberg that some European allies are free riders, a term that Trump echoed in his CNN interview. Now, the NATO documents do show that a majority of NATO members failed to meet NATO's guidelines, established in 2006, that defense expenditures should amount to 2% of each country's gross domestic product. The median spending in 2015 was just 1.18% of GDP, compared to the 3.7% of the United States. That's directly from the NATO. So just 4 other countries currently exceed the 2% guideline. So maybe there's a point in that, right? Maybe there is a point that, America is funding the military grade, but it also falls into this aspect. Why should Belgium and countries like that don't have military bases all over the world like America already has, why should they be forced to pay such a large military expenditure? I mean, we pride ourselves on the notion of being the protectors of the free world. That's a motto. There's no hiding that. The facts are out there. We're in well over 100 countries with bases in almost every major country in planet Earth. So to say, for example, that the United States is being misled or, taken advantage of or whatever the hell, that Donald Trump always tries to make us to play the victim every single chance. He's always trying to make his supporters and himself play this whole victim mentality bullshit. Sure, there should be talk with the NATO allies to, hey, everybody should chip in their fair share. But countries such as America and major countries like that, who already have bases, like I said, in well over 100 countries, why would you not pay more? You know what I mean? I mean, why not? You're already spending, the volume of the U.S. defense expenditure effectively represents 73% of the defense spending of the alliance as a whole. So that does not mean that the United States covers 73% of the costs involved in the operational running of NATO as an organization, including its headquarters in Brussels and its subordinate military commands, but it does mean that there is an over-reliance by the alliance as a whole on the United States for the provision of essential capabilities, including, for instance, in regard to intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, air-to-air refueling, ballistic missile defense, and airborne electronic warfare. So NATO does admit in its discussion that there is an imbalance. So to say something as nonsensical as him being quote for quote saying that NATO is obsolete, it holds no bearing. I spent, not even an hour trying to collect these facts. And I would be much more careful. Me as a person who is not in a political leadership position, me as just a regular guy, being a father, being a fucking worker guy, and if I gathered some of these statistics from both sides of the aisle, I would be reluctant to get up in front of a group of people and say that NATO is obsolete unless I had some hard-nosed evidence to back up what I was saying. That's coming from essentially a nobody, essentially just an average American citizen. And I'm telling you right now that I would be reluctant on saying such an outlandish thing. Now, maybe you might say, well, that's not the kind of leadership that we need. We need leadership that is going to put people in their place, and we need people to get jogged out of their seats or something. I guess if by your definition of leadership, if I have to get up there and lie on my ass and have no basis for any opinion that I have, then I don't want your leadership and I don't need your leadership, and I'll make my own leadership. So this whole thing was just to give you a brief understanding of NATO. Now, this is alliance pact, so it is stating, we all agree to it, every country, all 28 countries that are on this do state that if any one of them is attacked, that we will come to the defense or the aid of them. And for America to tout such craziness, well, not America in itself, but Donald Trump to say that we need to remove ourselves from this alliance and we need to, because it's obsolete and because it's taken a lion's share of our cost, these are inadequate. These are inadequate, and they're just not backed by facts. And it scares the shit out of me because this guy is the president of my country. There's things that need to be talked about, and there's things that need to be rearranged. And hopefully, the great businessman who's been bankrupt 4 fucking plus times, hopefully he can figure it out for us. But I'm not going to fucking count on it, and neither should you. Okay, so let's go into another segment where, we got to celebrate the president-elect somehow, right? Well, let's play some things that he has said in the past, and let's see how great of a leader. Maybe this might get some of you in the good old, feels, and you wish a leader just like him was everywhere, but this is an embarrassment to me. And this is the first one.
He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you. Jews were...
Now he's talking about John McCain, a man who was a prisoner of war for serving his country in the Vietnam War, and he's going to sit and tout from a place of no understanding of what it is being a battle. That's why I, okay, a person who is a nobody, a person who is an average citizen, would be very reluctant to get in front of a group of people and try to throw disdain on another person's military record when I have none myself. That is not effective leadership. That's not an effective or good person. That is the kind of person who would sit in a bar, and we all know these type of people, but maybe someone you know is one of them. They'll sit in the bar and they'll be the loudest talker in the bar, and they'll say the craziest shit, and they'll piss everybody off, and all the people who went there to have a good time end up having a shitty time because this ignorant asshole just won't shut his fucking mouth. But then when somebody steps up to him, whoever it is, all of a sudden, oh my God, why are you trying to start a fight with me? Play the whole victim mentality mindset. That is who Donald Trump is. He's the guy, when confronted, he lashes out like a fucking schoolgirl. And instead of going after big people, instead of trying to understand the world and its troubles and its problems, instead of trying to lead us into a direction of prosperity, he plays on people's emotions. That is not a good and effective leader. That is a fascist in disguise. Let's keep going.
He's a war hero because he was captured. Okay? You can have, and I believe perhaps he's
I also happen to call him a lightweight, okay, and I have said that, so I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight.
They're not sending you. They're not sending you. This, in my opinion, she was.
This is Trump going to talk about the Mexico immigrants.
They're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you.
Number one, Mexico is not sending any immigrant. No country picks out their own people and sends them to other countries to go live there. Okay, that I don't even know what he's talking about. And he's sitting here and he's pointing at people in the crowd, saying he's not sending you, like he knows these people that he's pointing at. Like just because he's a guy with a fucking hat that says "Make America Great Again," that automatically assumes that he's a very good, decent person in his community. Holy shit. He's pointing at people saying you. He's not sending you. He's not sending you. He's not pointing at his team who he knows personally. He's pointing at random fucking faces in the crowd, and he's automatically assigning them as the duty of being great people and great citizens, which is fucking crazy and erratic.
They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people would be real.
I don't even know where to begin on that notion. If you really truly believe that they're literally, that's all they're bringing, that these people are not just tired of working for $1 US a week, that they want better for their families, that they want to try to make their way to the land of prosperity and freedom that we put ourselves up to be, and they want to come over here, that's just erratic. It's absolutely nonsensical, and it's not even true. You know, there's actually there's a negative. More people, more Mexicans are leaving this country than coming into it. That's a fact. That's a fucking fact. You can't debate that. Okay, so whatever. So what else? What else should we talk about? In the future of the show, I'm gonna try to keep doing what I've been doing and bringing more people on to talk about, you know, the world. Talk about, you know, their art or their loves, their passions. Try to converse with them and learn from them, and hopefully they can learn from me. And, you know, we'll try to go out and we'll try to do the best that we can in this world. Also, you know, I'm going to keep working hand in hand with Lee and to try to bring you more of a geopolitical sense. And I think we're going to do maybe an offshoot or an off show eventually in the future that will pertain more along the lines of hard-nosed facts, of really delving deep on issues and really discussing things in monetary sense and percentage ways, and try to throw boatloads of data out there, and we'll try to see, what we can do. For some people it might not be the best show, and it might be really boring and drudging, and I don't blame you. Yeah, I really don't blame you. I mean, shit, it's not like we're PhD professors or anything. We don't have any credentials, but is to try to show, for example, that whoever you are, wherever you are, you can try at least the bare minimum to understand your issues and to understand your problems. Because I truly believe the more that I talk to people, the more that I get out there on the ground floor and try to deal with issues, there's always a sense of mystery that ties into their issues. They just don't know where it is, so they'll just say a snippet from Fox News, and they'll put it all on a certain person, or they'll put it all on just the government being inadequate and stuff like that. And in some cases, that these things are true. But it's very important to just understand the facts and the reality of every single situation that you have, whether it's just a simple family budget or whether it's a huge civil government lawsuit going on in your town. Understanding the problems and issues that we face is crucial. A democracy such as ours relies immensely on its people to be fluent in understanding how the government works, to be able to understand the problems that they are facing, and to be able to understand and organize to do something about these issues. And in some ways we have lost this, and we continue to lose this, but in some ways we need to stop losing this, and we need to get better. We have to, for the sake of our children. That's the reason why I do this show, is for the sake that my child can grow up in a better environment than me, not in a worse environment than me. And if that means that I have to hurt somebody to make sure that she grows up, hurt an innocent, okay? Yeah, there's no problem with hurting somebody that's going to hurt you first, right? This is just the techniques of survival that we all understand in a way. But if I have to hurt an innocent person to get myself ahead in this life, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm not going to shove my problems off on a group of people. I'm not going to shove my problems off on the religious crazy nuts unless you guys try to blow me up. But I want to just be human with you. Just share a moment of our humanness together. And to know that this place and this planet is very, very short. And time is very, very vital. It's the only thing that we've got. And it's the only thing that we can use is our time. So let's start using it. Alright. Follow me, please. Facebook.com, Generation Rising 1. Twitter, @Generation X Rising. Instagram is just Generation Rising. Get on board, man. Support the cause as much as you can. Support me, and I promise you I'll pay you back in dividends that you can even imagine. There's a lot of changes coming up here, so hopefully, the show will keep going, and I can keep doing this thing for you guys. I love doing it. This is a passion of mine. But, obviously I have other things, personal responsibilities, and so on and so forth. I thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for always supporting me, and thank you guys for always for being there. I love you all. Good night, man. And may the fight be strong. May we fight till the end, for sure. All right.